There is nothing more exciting when you live around horses than when you're expecting the birth of a little baby foal. Something we wait 11 months for, give or take, about 30 days in the end. Doesn't always go right, and when it doesn't go right, it goes wrong spectacularly. So when it does go right, it is the most wonderful, happy, rewarding, magical experience that you could be part of. And last weekend, we welcomed into the world little baby B. Baby B, because we don't know what his name is yet. We've got something in mind, but we're going to sit with it for about a week, so I'm not going to give that away yet. But he's absolutely heavenly, and I wanted to share not only the birth, but a bit about the story behind him, how he came to be, and who his mum is, and what the story is there. So let's get into it. First of all, I'll start by talking about his mum, Fairheath Rosamond. And Rosamond in the stable. She is that fancy, she doesn't have a stable name. Charlotte Dujardin's dressage horse, Vallegro, the famous horse that won the Olympics in London 2012, his stable name's Blueberry. Rosamond? Nothing suits her. Not Roz, not Rosie. We get told off if we call her anything other than Rosamond, so that's who she is. She's about 8 years old now. She's got the longest legs you've ever seen, massive, powerful shoulders, and her dad is a horse called Romanoff, and her mum is Tilly, who we have out in the field at the moment, and she has given birth to many of the mares that we've had, and Tilly, her breeding is De Niro. So that's a bit about Rosamond, a bit about her temperament. She is sweet and good-natured and cuddly and likes affection and likes treats in the stable. And when she's working, she can either be fiery and sprightly and sparky, or she can be a bit resistant and marish and do I have to? But when she moves and when she's in the right environment and frame of mind, it's extraordinary to watch. She is graceful, and her long legs carry her like a gallant ship across the school when she's working. And she's my mum's horse. Mum was there for her birth, backed her as well, so was the first person to sit on her and ride her, and has produced her up to this point. And then she went away for a little bit, over a year ago now, and went to Newton Stud, where they took an embryo from her. So an embryo transfer is when you take an embryo from a mare and you fertilize it with your stallion's semen of choice, and then you artificially inseminate a surrogate mare, and that means that your mare, who the egg came from, can continue working. You can continue riding them. They don't have to have a year plus out of work because they are pregnant and then with foal at foot. So this is a great way of being able to enjoy your horse and make more beautiful babies from it. I think that we've been very successful in this regard. So let me tell you a bit about Bouncy, our surrogate mare. Bouncy comes from Newton Stud, a little way up the coast from us in Devon, and she's been there as a surrogate mare for a little while. She's about 7 and she's had a few foals before, and they told us that she's an absolute pro at her job, nothing to worry about. So that was very reassuring for us, because she's carrying very precious cargo over the past 11 months, and she did live up to her reputation and do an absolutely beautiful job. As I mentioned, the gestation period for horses is about 11 months, give or take, and we were expecting baby B on around the 1st of May, so he was in fact born a week and a bit early. She's been out in the fields, Bouncy, living quite happily, grazing with the other mares. We've been keeping an eye on her to see when we think it's time to bring her in. And a couple of weeks ago, we felt she's moving a bit more slowly. She's clearly a bit uncomfortable. The load's getting heavy. So we decided to bring her in. She's in there right now. And that is a nice, quiet, secluded foaling box is the job it's doing right now. And all the other horses are on the other side, the barn. So what we did is we filled it with nice, comfy straw and started giving her feeds and was turning her out every day with the other horses, but she settled in very quickly. She was clearly very happy to be in a safe environment, to get used to it, to think about, okay, this is the place where I want to have my baby. Again, we've been keeping an eye on her in the field. She's not been going out for very long, maybe a couple of hours. She's been a little bit restless, so to err on the side of caution, it's better to have them in and keep an eye on them. And she's loved being in her box. And she got a bath last week, and she's been pampered and fussed and given lots of treats, and she's really been enjoying that. A couple of things to look out for when a mare is about to give birth is how her body changes. So her belly dropped quite significantly in the past week, and her muscles behind started to become quite pointed, so her back end became quite sloped like this. That is an indication that all the ligaments are relaxing to allow for the getting ready to push. The other thing is that she was doing what we call bagging up, so her udders were becoming quite full looking, and she was also getting some swelling as well on the abdomen, where you could see that just everything was starting to get ready. Another thing that you look out for is if there are any secretions on the teats, so whether there's any fluid showing or any colostrum, which is the first milk that they produce, which is very thick and full of nutrients. And we've been looking out for that just to see if there was any indication, and there hasn't been anything. That said, not knowing the mare and her behaviour. Oh, hello Bouncy. Hello girlie. Not knowing her and her behaviours for giving birth, Mum's been watching her through the foaling cam that we set up, so just a CCTV camera. On Friday afternoon, I decided to just do a little video of her. I think subliminally I was getting ready for what might possibly come. I'm trying to get a good look at her, about the size of her belly and how her udders look. And then Friday evening, when we came to do lates, give them all the hay nets, say goodnight to them, had a little look at Bouncy and, just see how she was. And I could see milk coming from her teats, which was incredibly exciting because I thought, oh gosh, this is it. This is the night. Of course, it can be up to 48 hours. So I didn't know what to expect, but we all got very excited about it because we felt, this is going to be it. Had dinner, relaxed. It was about 10:15, was going to bed, and I just sort of plopped down in front of Mum's little TV with the foaling cam, and you can see some footage here. The footage is not great, it's pretty grainy, but you can see clearly enough that she's moving around, that she's restless. Mum has said that she was doing that the night before. She was getting up and down, moving around, looking at her belly, giving all those signs that something is coming. And I was just watching just to see what she was doing. I was actually calling out to Mum, giving a play-by-play, saying, she's lying down, Mum. Oh no, she's up again. She's moving around. And then I didn't catch it on the camera, but I thought I saw something glinting beneath her tail. And I was like, is that straw or is that something else? And it actually turned out to be the amniotic sac. And I exploded. I said, Mum, it's time, it's happening, it's time, let's go. So we rushed down, and Mum had her maternity kit ready to go, and we were there witnessing the birth, and it happened, and it unfolded, and it was wonderful. And it took her barely 10 minutes for her to give birth. She was amazing. She was a real pro. So that was a real relief to have that go beautifully. Hello, girlie. Good girl. Hello. This is actually the second birth that I've been witness to. The first was Lisbeth, and that was back in 2012. She got the name Lisbeth for two reasons. One, because it was the Queen's Jubilee, which amazingly enough it is this year as well, gosh. It was the Queen's Jubilee, and I'd also been really into the Lisbeth Salander Millennium books, so she got her name from that, and she was absolutely gorgeous. But even though I had been present there, I didn't really remember much of what to expect and what to look out for. And I think one of the things that I was a little bit concerned about was when he was born, and I couldn't really see clearly that he was breathing. But Mum was really good at sort of running her hands down his nose, make sure any excess fluid that's in there was coming out. And he did sound a bit fluidy on the lungs when he first started breathing. And he was also shivering a bit as well. Shivering from the incredible experience of being born, I'm sure, but maybe it was a bit chilly. So we rubbed him down with some straw, and he dried out pretty quickly and sorted himself out. So that was good. The other thing that has actually been a topic of conversation in my friendship group recently is how peculiar the hooves are when horses are born. They're born with these soft, frilly, jelly-like appendages on their hooves, because, as you know, horses' hooves are pretty hard, they're pretty tough, but these were soft and delicate, because obviously when they're born it's going to reduce any risk of rupturing Mum on the way out. So that was also amazing to see how delicate and soft they were. And a piece actually dropped off, and even the next day when I touched it, it was the same. It was still this soft substance. So that was really impressive to see. The other thing that was very reassuring was just how good Bouncy was, just how at ease and how, professional she was at giving birth and getting up and sorting him out. And that was really nice to see. The next day we decided to just call the vet to come and have a look over him and her, just in case she had left anything behind from the placenta inside, which can be very dangerous, or if anything was damaged, or if there was anything wrong with him that we needed to look out for. So the vet came around and gave them both a check over. One of the things they do, and which they recommend you do, even if you're doing it yourself, is to actually lay out the whole placenta and to see if there are any bits missing. So while I'm not bothered with anything like this, if you are a little squeamish, I'm just warning you now that this is the whole placenta and you're going to see it laid out in the next clip. What I think is fascinating is just the how it is constructed, and all the veins that are across it and all the different parts that obviously give life to the foal. So this is how it was, and there was nothing left. So it was a nice clean birth. Some of you might be wondering what we did with the placenta afterwards. Well, I can tell you that it got driven away and buried in the side of the muck heap. So yes, that's what happened to it. Just want it well away and gone and disposed of. It was quite fun when the vet came, because he asked me if I could just hold onto baby B while he gave him a check over. And I mean, this little tyke was born less than 24 hours before, and he was full of beans. He was rocketing around in my arms. I'm telling you, with the rate that which he's eating, in a week's time I would not be able to hold him. He was strong, really, really strong. So that was quite funny. He's going to be quite a little champion. And he's so friendly and he's so sweet, and Mum is obviously very protective and very concerned, and we're not in there interfering all hours of the day. Absolutely not. She needed time to bond with him, and she needs time to feed and to rest, and the same for him. So we've got the baby cam on still, and we're keeping an eye on them, and we come and check on them when we're feeding. So that's it really. That is the whole experience of the birth, and with a little bit of details either side. And I'm going to just document his growth, really, how he changes and grows. I mean, he's just a marvelous, gorgeous little thing. Jet black colt, just absolutely beautiful, with two little white socks and a little whirly star on his forehead. So yes, I'm gonna leave the video here with just showing you a little snapshot of him and Mum in their stable before we leave them alone. Hello, Mama. Whoa. Hi, baby. What are you up to, rocketing around? Woohoo! Hi, Mama. What a happy little chap. What a happy little chap.